Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, y'all. I'm your host, Bull. Good Thursday to everybody. If I'm catching you on your lunch break, hope that y'all having a great day. We have several things to talk about today. I want to focus more on some different sports. We talk a lot about football, but for me, I mean, y'all already know I love football, so it's football year round for me. And of course, we will be talking about football too. But I just want to give y'all some updates on what's going on with some of the other teams and all that good stuff. As always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And I want to kick it off with our basketball team. It came out yesterday that Tennessee is actually targeting. His name is Desmond Claude. And so this is him right here on ESPN. So he's a guard. The first thing that stood out to me was his size. I mean, 6'6". I think that he might actually be closer to 6'5". I've seen him at 6'6". I've seen him at 6'5" in some other places. But, you know, this could mean a multitude of different things that we'll kind of touch on. But looking at what he did last year at USC, averaging about 16 points per game, 3.5 rebounds. Y'all know that I love the guards that can go out and get rebounds for us. And 4.2 passes. And where is he at? 48% right here with his field goals. But as far as his three-point shooting, he was at 30% last season. So about 31% right here. And then he was at Xavier for the previous 2 years. And his three-point shooting wasn't necessarily great. I mean, it's pretty close his first year there, but then his second year, it was at about 24%. So probably not like the best shooter, but, you know, having a bigger guard, somebody who can handle, and we will take a look at, some of his clips and all of that. I think that would be big for Tennessee because you want to add some more guards. Now, we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with ZZ, what's going to happen with Jordan Gainey as far as getting their fifth year. I don't know. To me, this is kind of a sign that, maybe Tennessee is starting to say, hey, well, if we can't, we don't feel like this is very realistic. So we'll just go on ahead and maybe take, whatever guard we can get at this, and not like whatever guard, but, we're going to take the best guard that we can get because he's been in the transfer portal since I think April the 22nd from USC. So what that tells me is he's a guy that maybe there wasn't a whole lot of people looking for him early on, but now it's us and it's Oregon that's actually reached out to him. It makes me think that teams are starting to feel like the fifth-year thing might not happen in 2025. It's probably going to come later than that. But let me go ahead and pull up some of his clips. And I want to tell y'all this real quick. If you're watching this back, if you're not watching this live, the clip portion of this might get taken out, okay? So just understand that. But we will go on ahead and pull that up for you. So he's a guy that can definitely handle. Again, he's got good size. He can get to the basket. I don't see a lot of mid-range from him, and he's more of like a drive guy. He can shoot some threes if he's wide open. But I just think this game is more of maybe almost like a 2/3. You know what I mean? Which would give us some more depth there. Obviously, that's what Tennessee's looking for. But taking it back to this whole house settlement thing, it feels like everything is moving a lot slower than maybe what it should. The judge was close to signing off on this back in April, and she didn't like the language with the roster limits. And, for basketball, the roster limits would go from, I want to say it might be 12 scholarships with no roster limit, but, moving towards a 15 scholarship limit and then a 15 roster limit. And she wants to have the players that will be walk-ons, get them kind of like grandfathered in. From what I've been gathering, it sounds like they're going to, maybe give schools the option to say, hey, we're going to opt into this, grandfathered in clause for the walk-on players, or we won't. What that's going to look like, I don't know. If you opt in, I'm just speculating. Maybe it means that you stick to the 12 scholarship limit. And if you don't opt in, then you get the 15 scholarship limit, but you have a roster limit. So I don't know. That could be why it's taking so long, because most schools will probably they're probably not going to opt into that, right? It's just, I don't know how beneficial that would be for the actual teams. So saying all that just to say, Tennessee might feel like we're operating off of like a 12 scholarship limit or something like that, where, if that is the case, then of course, if this thing doesn't go through, this whole house settlement, then they're not going to get to the fifth year thing. I think that's further down on their list of stuff to get figured out, right? I mean, it's just everything is so messed up because these people came out and they thought that it would make sense to basically say, hey, well, you know what? We saw one big company go pretty much down in flames from violating antitrust Well, how about we violate antitrust, but make these schools sign off on it? That is the dumbest idea. I think it just gives you a little bit of a look at the mindset of the leadership. But my whole point here, y'all, is that they might feel like we're operating off of the same scholarship limits that we had last year for several years, and we're not going to be able to get this fifth year. So ZZ can't come back, Jordan Gainey can't come back. So if Tennessee ends up getting to a point where Desmond Claude wants to come take a visit, sounds like he's asking for $2 to $3 million. I don't know how normal that is. That's probably pretty normal for a good guard in college basketball these days on this level. But he was overlooked for such a long time. There might be overpaying. Either way, I just think that he might end up being the last guy that we add to this class and to this team. But I think that he will be a really, really good add. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not taking away nothing really from his game. He's not, obviously, he wasn't the team necessarily first choice. Wouldn't be my first choice, but given the options that we have at this point, I think that it's a very, very good option. And, it gives us a veteran guy that can do a lot of good things for us. Of course, his defense is going to be good. That's part of the reason I'm looking for players with more size, because that helps out with defense. Coach Barnes is going to teach them how to play it as far as their technique and all of that, but you can't coach size. You can't teach size. And, I think that this will be big for Tennessee, but we'll see how things kind of unfold over these next few, I guess, weeks or, whatever. We still have a very, very long time until the season starts. So this right here, update: Tennessee plays Georgia 3:30. Okay, so thank you for that. Wait a second. Okay. So you're talking about for the football. Wow. So that's not going to be a night game. To me, it really doesn't too much matter. I mean, would it be better if it's a night game for our fans? Maybe, but Neyland's going to be rocking. Like, if it's 12 versus Georgia in Neyland, it don't matter. Like, we're still going to be rocking. I think that the players might do better with those kind of like afternoon games. This was brought up in a previous stream that the players do tend to play better because we practice early. So let's go on to this next one here. Saying that I heard that Alabama is the front runner for Desmond. Okay, so I didn't know that Desmond in Alabama was a thing. So obviously there's several programs that are coming out looking at him now. Again, he's been in the portal for about a month now. So the fact that there's so many people coming out at the same time lets you know that there's something going on, probably with the house settlement, with the roster limits and all that, that's leading these teams to want to go after this player. So that's just my own speculation. This right here is saying that he's a need for sure. We'll add depth at the 2. And if the 5th year is passed, automatic top 10. Yeah, so that's the other part of it. If that 5th year is passed, then we could still add Jordan Gainey and ZZ. Just imagine how deep this team is now, y'all. That would be crazy. So excellent points coming from everybody. Thank y'all for adding to the show. Is Tennessee a national title contender if they get Claude? I think so. I honestly do. I think that the roster, in some ways, you could say, is it better than it was last season? Just at this point, maybe. We don't have a Chaz, we don't have a DK like we have for the past couple of years. Someone that can just take over games. At least I don't see that. But I mean, could Nate be that guy? Maybe, right? I mean, he's a young player, but he's got a very, very high ceiling. So it's very possible. But I would call us that 100%. And then this one's also saying, who would you say is better, Rice or Dez? For me personally, I would go with Rice. And it actually looked like whenever Rice came in, that's when Dez was leaving, saying that it sucks that we missed on Rice, but I would take 3 million as well. Yeah, I mean, of course you're gonna take what you can get. And the messed up part would be, and I don't want to say it's messed up because I'm definitely not taking a shot at Dez. But like I just said, I would take Rice over Dez. So, what if we end up having to pay Dez the same amount that Rice was asking for? If that's like push comes to shove, I think that's probably not the best. That probably wouldn't be the best overall look for our team. Just as far as, man, we maybe could have got a little bit of a better player for that same money. But either way, yeah, I think that we're in a good spot. I'm not worrying about our basketball team. We got a long way to go, and there will be several changes. So that's the first part of it. Now I would like to move on, and let's talk about. We're going to go on to, let's shift gears to softball. How about that? How about we talk about a little bit of softball? So this is going to be the bracket. Of course, our softball team is in the World Series, and this is how things look. So they're actually going to be playing today. It was scheduled for 2:30. I'm sure that it probably still is scheduled for 2:30, as y'all can see, versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma's got a really good softball team, but we beat them in our series earlier this year. We won 2 games, they won one. So that makes you feel great. This is kind of like if we win the first game, then we go on to this next part right here. Okay. And then we will be playing up against the winner of Florida and Texas. We didn't play Florida this year, but we won our series with Texas, beat them 2-1. So if we end up losing, okay, and I don't even like talking about losing, but if we end up losing, it looks like we'd be coming down here to this bracket and looks like playing. Let me see. Yeah, so I guess we'll be playing one of these teams, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So that's about how things are shaping up. I don't know why, y'all. I have a different level of confidence with our softball team. I had a lot of confidence with this last season, but I just feel like this is our year. I do, and I really would not be shocked. So obviously, we'll be watching this one very, very closely, and if we win, then we'll be playing. I think I might have already said that, but if we do win, then we plan on Saturday. If we lose, then we plan on Sunday. And I think that we can get it done. So we've got one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in the whole country, and we'll be following it very, very closely. And of course, our baseball team, they're going to be playing tomorrow. So this is how the regionals look. And this is a situation where you have to lose 2 games to get put out. It's the same thing with softball, but theirs is a little bit like their seeding is obviously now that it's in the World Series. It's going to be different from this. But, if Tennessee ends up, coming out of the Knoxville region, then we got to face the winner of this region, who I think will probably end up being Arkansas. We'd have to go to, if I'm not mistaken, we have to go to Arkansas. And I'm just kind of hoping that Arkansas ends up losing just because Arkansas is really good. And, we're kind of struggling versus them. There's so many things going on with this team. Feels like this is what we're built for, y'all. Like we are built for postseason. Okay. Didn't love how the SEC tournament went. Obviously, getting run ruled by freaking Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's got a good ball club. And let me scroll this up for y'all just a little bit so that y'all can see how the bottom portion of this region here looks. Scroll that up just a little bit more. So, Vandy's got a good team, but at the same time, just like getting blown out by anybody, that's not a good look. Like our team last season, that wasn't happening. I think that the bats were better. I think that the pitching, we got to find more consistency with our pitching. The fielding is just, we have to figure out a lot of things. But the good thing about our baseball team is it's talented, if not more talented than every other team in the country. So if that flip switches, or if that, is that right? if that flip gets switched on, then we could get hot. So looking out for that coming up tomorrow. I think that game starts at 6. It's going to be on ESPN Plus. So we'll probably have like a post-game show for that. Excuse me, a post-game show for that. Maybe a pre-game show also. But this is do or die, and everything needs to start to click. Now with us playing in Neyland, it kind of feels like we haven't done as well. Not in Neyland, but playing in Knoxville. Feels like we haven't done as well playing at home this year as we have on the road. We got to get that figured out. But we can hit, so we should get more home runs. Hopefully that helps out with the scoring. And the other teams, it'll be a smaller field for them too. But I think that we're in a good spot as of right now, outside of the Arkansas thing. If Arkansas loses, I feel great about our chances. But it might be good for our guys to see Arkansas win too, to see them win and know, hey, we got to be on point. We got to get out of this, first region up in Knoxville first. But I think that we can do it. Cincy, they've got a good team. So we'll see. We will see. Moving on to the next thing that we're going to touch on today. And actually, let me show you, because I did talk a little bit about how the, like wins and losses works right now with the regions. This is showing you what's going to happen, right? So game 1 would be Cincinnati versus Wake Forest at 1 p.m. And of course, this all is on Friday. And then game 2 would be us versus Miami of Ohio at 6. And the loser of this is going to go on Saturday to face the loser. So both of the losers will end up playing on Saturday. That's going to be that first game. And then, of course, the winners end up playing. We will see how things shape up from that standpoint. Now, let's move on to the Elite 11, because our guy, Faison Brandon, he made the top 20 for this. All right, so the finals for this, I want to say it's June the 17th through the 18th or through the 19th. But you can see where Faison is right here, listed at 6'4", about 200 pounds. he's a daggum stud. So we're going to take a look at some of his clips here in just a second. And I also want to point out this guy right here who plays at Grayson High School that's close to where P and I live. And I can tell you, he's good. He's huge. So he's only listed at 6'4" and a half, 206. He's really big. Like, he looks like he's bigger than that. I haven't seen him in person yet, but just watching him on TV, he looks like he's probably about, 6'5", close to 6'6". Either way, he's really good. Watch out for him. But you can see the rest of these players. Let me scroll this thing on up so that y'all can see everybody. This what this top 20 looks like. Like I said, man, I think that Faison coming to this, that's big. We know that guys like GMAC last season, I don't think that he did much of this, if he did any of it, but they ended up dropping him in the overall rankings, which the rankings doesn't mean a whole lot. Could it maybe help you land some more players, especially in some future classes? Yeah, they say, well, shoot, they've got so much talent. They had maybe the number one quarterback in the whole country. If I'm a wide receiver, I want to go play for that. If I'm a running back, if I'm an offensive lineman, whatever, you want to go play for those types of guys. So that could help out from that standpoint. But really, it's all about how good is he really? And we know that he's, very, very good. So let me go ahead and pull up these clips for y'all real quick of him. Just kind of going through. This was about like a month ago. I want to say it might have been more than that, but you can see, obviously, man, Faison he's just a very, very, I don't even want to say necessarily polished, because I still see some things in his game that Coach Heupel, Coach Halsley, they're going to make him so much better at, but he's a natural. Like, watch the way that the ball comes out of his hand, the way that it spins. You're going to see really good turnover with his passes. I love seeing that. Like, look at that zip there. I think he throws a really catchable football. For me, he's the closest thing to a Hendon Hooker since Hendon Hooker. You know what I'm saying? Just like with his skill set, very, very similar. Where he can move. He's a pocket passer, but he can move. He might have a little bit more wiggle than what Hendon had. Might be a little bit of a better athlete overall. Now, obviously, whenever Hendon came to Tennessee, he was a veteran. So people have asked, will Faison start as a true freshman? We have so many good quarterbacks. I think that, I think that Merck sticks around. That's probably, it's probably going to be Merck's year. If it's not coming up in 2025, 2026 should definitely be his year. GMAC, if he gains the daggum weight, I mean, his ceiling is super high. So, Faison as a true freshman coming into SEC play, it's going to be tough for him to start over some veterans, because I think that both of those guys, talking about Merck, talking about Mac, they probably will get to play, more than the typical kind of like underclassmen quarterbacks have up under Coach Heupel. I think that they're going to get some, real shots. And, I think that they'll be more ready for it. But either way, looking more towards Tennessee's overall future, Faison is that dude. And let's not forget that him and Tristan Keys, I think that they're still very close. Sounds like Tristan Keys still wants to come up for this visit. If that happens, he could help us close out on guys of that type of caliber, not just for this class, but also moving forward. And I'll also throw this out there, while we're talking about wide receivers, while we're talking about this whole class, I'm gonna throw this out there that Tyron Evans, okay, I think that he is going to be visiting the Kentucky Wildcats at some point this weekend, probably starting off tomorrow. So, rated as a 4-star with on 3. If you look at their kind of like overall ratings, they have him as a 3-star right here. But, he has good size. I think he's a very, very good player. We'll see if we can pull this thing up. I hope that this doesn't mess up for y'all, but let me see if I can make this thing big and maybe y'all can see it. Hopefully you can see the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee, I would like to see us add a total of 3, maybe 4 wide receivers in this class. I'm looking more for like the bigger guys, like for sure 6 feet and up. If they're going to be, like a smaller player that's under 6'3", which is that's not who Tyron is, but if they're under 6'3", they need to be able to play inside and outside. We need as much, depth and versatility in our wide receiver room as we can possibly get, because we're still going to be kind of shorthanded moving forward. And so that's what, I guess what maybe kind of worried me some. We definitely need to close out on more. So either way, I mean, he's going to a program where, who the heck is their quarterback going to be? I don't think that he would want to go there. Just honestly speaking, you see that most of their really good wide receivers over the past couple of years, they've transferred out. So obviously there's something about their system. There's something about the way that they're built that's probably not going to be great for these wide receivers. Tennessee's a much better situation because, again, looking at, I'm saying it almost like it's a negative thing, that, we don't have as much depth as far as the numbers with our wide receivers, but for an incoming player, that should be a great thing. Hey, you have a much easier path to the field You know what I'm saying? Just because there's not that many numbers here. So if you come in, if you focus on learning this offensive system, if you work on your craft, work on your game, you can see the field early in a system that is going to get you the dadgum football. Like we said, we got a bunch of good quarterbacks here. The offensive line looks great moving forward. Proud of what we've done there. The running backs is everything, right? The defense is always going to be good. So you're going to get a lot of opportunities. We like to run that tempo, so you get a whole lot of snaps. We're going to have people running wide freaking open sometimes. We're mixing up our scheme. So for me, it's almost like a non-factor. I'm not quite sure why he's going on this visit. It could be about money. Whatever it is, doesn't too much matter. I think that he does stick around with us. And like I said, man, we're going to have to do a good job of, going out and landing some more players in this class. So let me come on back over here. Hopefully y'all could see that. Hopefully that thing didn't mess up for you. But I feel great about it. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about, y'all, last thing that we'll talk about today is going to be this picture right here. And this actually came from Brian Staley from his Twitter page. So that's Braylon Staley's father. And you can see our guys here. That's going to be Jake Merck, right? And then next to him, you've got Travis Smith, who's looking good. Next to him, you've got Mike Matthews. And then on the outside, you've got Braylon Staley. So this is something that we've talked about, that we are going to, because we got Joey coming in. We know that Joey's going to be out there on the field all the time inside of the film room, meeting with the coaches as much as possible, trying to get a crash course on our offense. But he also has to get with our players and go through the actual, like running the routes, because it's all about timing with this offense. So what that means is the other quarterbacks are going to be doing the exact same thing. The quarterback competition, I think, is positive for Tennessee. You're going to have guys like Merck out there working with these guys. You're going to have GMAC out there working with these guys. And I would think that you're going to see the secondary players out there. Hey, look, we need to get a daggum 7-on-7 going. Okay. Hey, backers, where y'all at? Y'all need to come on out here, work on your pass coverage too. Tight ends, where y'all at? Running backs, get out there, catch some passes. Hey, where's the offensive line at? Because we need to get these snaps, right? We need to work on that. We need to work on our pass sets. Even if it's not, hey, I don't want to necessarily see I don't want to see one-on-ones, with the offensive line, versus the D-line. But get out there, go through, all of your sets, go through your pass rush lanes, talk to each other, say, hey, this is what this is what we like to do in these types of situations. So watch out for this, whether it's the offense or whether it's the defense, getting in extra reps. This should be team-led practices on I don't want to say on a really high level, but we should be in phenomenal freaking shape. We should be strong. We should be durable. We should just be so on point with all the plays, offense, defense. Get the special teams guys out there too. Let them kick some freaking field goals. Punt the ball. We got to catch punt. We have to catch punts and all that, right? So I just think that we'll see the entire team at some point. We might not get those pictures of it, but I think that this is a kind of a positive thing for Tennessee because of the quarterback competition, where now there's competition everywhere because everyone has to be out there. And I think that that's something that doesn't get talked about enough with this team in 2025 that will hopefully end up helping us out. But that's pretty much it, y'all. Just wanted to kind of update y'all real quick on what the heck's going on. Just something for y'all to listen to on your lunch break or later on. But as always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And actually, first, let me try to get to the rest of these chats. Let me see. What would you say? Okay, so what would you say the projected roster is, Bull? So if you're talking about the basketball team, I don't have that up inside of this stream, but I would say that everything that we've already looked at, maybe with the Desmond added to it, I don't know. Obviously, we have some competition there, but I would say that we're definitely going to try to add one more guard. If we get to the 15-man roster, I would say you want to try to add two more guards, or maybe, like a guard and maybe like a stretch four, if you can find that. But yeah, I would say, why not fill up the roster with as many spots as you possibly can? It was a problem for us last season, right? Because we were shorthanded. So why not go out and add as many players as possible? And I think that, I think that we will be ready. What's going on, Chat's Work? Thank you for joining us. Do I still think Tennessee can be okay? Yes. In football with the NIL issues. Yeah. So, boy, I don't know that we have NIL issues necessarily. Like, I wouldn't say that we really have NIL issues. I just think that if you're talking about, is Tennessee like in the top 8? I don't know that Tennessee's in the top 8 as far as NIL. So it's going to be tough. It really, really sincerely is. One of the things that I talked about with Nico coming here was, listen, you got to pay all this extra money for this guy to come in. But I just think that with his ceiling being able to maybe get us in, take us further than maybe we wouldn't be without him. Just looking at his ceiling, that could maybe get us some more players to maybe take a little bit of a discount if they have to. I think that we're going to be fine, but it's going to be hard because Tennessee's still playing catch up. Like we looked at Tennessee's roster versus Georgia's yesterday. And listen, if y'all would like to do a stream later on tonight and maybe kind of like a running thing where we look at all the teams that Tennessee has coming up, all the big games that we have coming up on our schedule for 2025, just breaking down film on all those guys, going quarter by quarter, doing it maybe around 5:30, maybe 6 p.m. And, just so everyone can get off work and watch it and all of that. If y'all like to do that, let me know. I'll probably put a poll up later on. So y'all make sure that you chime in with it because we might start that tonight. Like we did the first quarter of UGA yesterday. We could do the second one, later on today and then so on and so forth. Just keep on going until we get through everybody leading up to the season. But either way, the whole point here is we're still playing catch up as far as the roster. So it's going to take we're going to have to continue to kind of do more with less, so to speak, for us to be able to keep on bringing in players. If we can't outbid for every single player. So let's go on to these next few, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Tennessee has to watch out for LSU for Faison. Yeah, people have been talking about that. I think that Tennessee's good. I think that Faison's solid. I don't think he's going anywhere. I know that LSU is going to try, but he's in a good spot with Tennessee. It's closer to home. But yeah, obviously with him and Tristan Keys being close, you got to look at it from both sides. Maybe Keys can get him to flip to LSU. I don't see us letting that happen. Keep on putting in work quarterbacks and receivers, GBO, 100%. I think that they'll keep on doing that for sure. Excellent point. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Rhonda. Yes, sir. No problem. And looks like the last one. Okay, right here. I would love that. All right, so that is going to be it. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. But as always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we might see y'all a little bit later on tonight. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching. And please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.